What is something someone said to you that hit you the hardest? If anyone in this thread needs to reach out to talk with someone, please see some of the resources below. There's R, Suicide Watch, where well-meaning and sympathetic people will try and help, but be aware they aren't trained. B, Befrienders. http www.befrienders.org/ website is a global list of local suicide help charities. Use it to find an organization in your country. You should be able to call or email them for free and they'll speak to you and try and help you without being judgmental. 10th grade teacher pulled me to the side as I was enter the class and told me, "Walk with your head up." Don't think he knows how much that helped me. My dad was describing me to a therapist and said, "She is full of quit." If it's between saving $100 or going to that movie or concert or festival you've always wanted to go to, just go. A year from now you won't remember where that $100 went, but you'll sure as hell remember that memory you made with it. IDK his exact name, but he's a comedian and his name is Josh. So there, to add another. Did you have a bad day? Or did you have a bad 5 minutes you held onto for the rest of the day? Edit. Oof. Glad so many people enjoyed those quotes. I've kept them close for a time and they really drive home their own respective messages. And to those who identified Josh Wolf, thank you. He's a great comedian and what an insight. Cheers. You are not good enough, heard that a lot as child. And now whenever PPL by action or subtly say that I am not XYZ, it hurts. Makes me feel like an afterthought. Like I will always come second and no matter what I do I will fail. You just feel like a chore now. My father prayed I would have a terrible child, and I think it's you. I was 11 years old. My mom telling me that my dad is an awful man who abandoned us. She did the same thing years later. You're going to have to do it sometime. Might as well do it now. My dad told me that in middle school after I was complaining about homework. And I've lived by it ever since. We broke up because of you. It doesn't matter if you hit a home run or strike out. I'll always be your #1 fan. My grandpa when I was going through a very rough time. Not said directly to me, but I overheard some guys on my track team talking garbage about me. They didn't know I was standing there. They weren't even friends of mine. But I was doing very well on the team that year and earned a spot on the varsity team, which is something that had never happened to me before. These guys were saying I didn't deserve to be there. And that really screwed me up, as I'm a pretty shy, quiet guy and usually don't elicit that kind of reaction out of people. I've always had trouble expressing my emotions. Because of this, a couple months ago my friends called me a butt who lacks any and all empathy. That stung quite a bit. My mother once told me, "I think you've been miserable your entire life," in regards to my depression. It may sound like a horrible thing to hear, but she was not trying to upset me. She was basically saying, "You've done everything you can by yourself to try to get out of this depression. But I think it's always been there. So you need help." My mom once told me when I was a teenager that it took a lot of courage to take your own life. And you could do a lot with that courage instead of killing yourself. Edit. Posted this late last night and then proceeded to have a mess of day due to random bad luck. So thanks for the golds and silvers, kind strangers. For those struggling to understand what she meant, I don't think my mom meant to say suicide was a courageous act that should be looked upon with admiration, as others here have commented. If you have the courage to die, you have the courage to live. I think she meant to convey that we all have a lot of potential and we all have something to offer. Even if we can't see it during the dark times. You can be the sweetest peach on the peach tree, but not everyone likes peaches. My team sergeant was killed in front of me by an IED on my last deployment. He was a mentor of mine and we were particularly close. After we put him on the helicopter, the team commander pulled me aside and told me that this isn't the last time this is going to happen. For what it's worth, He thought you were a good NCO. It was hard enough seeing him go. But somehow him thinking that I was good, that he thought I would be alright, made it hurt more. I still miss him. Assured it, fixed a typo. I wish you could just stop caring what he says. My dad. After I got the umpteenth emotionally manipulative text from my abusive ex-husband. This was over 2 years after our divorce was finalized. My dad doesn't say much on an emotional level. So when he does say something, I know it has deep meaning. I went no contact with my ex, and remain so to this day. And I'm a much happier and more serene person for it. A coworker once told me, all stress is relative. You have no right to undermine what someone else is going through, no matter how small compared to your stress. I think about it a lot. He was so right. I was young and being an a-hole. Yesterday is heavy. Put it down. I'm so proud of you, said to me by my swim coach after I came in last. 5 minutes after everybody else. I realized then that nobody had ever been proud of me before for something I didn't succeed in. Everybody shows pride when you succeed. When you give your best and come up short anyway. Having someone still be proud of your effort means the absolute world. No one wants to be around someone who's sad and blames others all the time. Granted, I was in high school and trying to get attention, and some girl said it to me after I was doing my whole nice guy rant. After that I took it upon myself to change and haven't fallen back into that mindset since. EDITI. Should clarify. The girl who told me this was someone I had a lot of classes with and we knew one another fairly well. I was being a nice guy, in the sense of trying to be manipulative by trying to get sympathy from the Missouri. Thankfully saw how I was acting and did a complete 180 degrees once I realized it. It's been about 15 years and I'm in my 30s now and have been a lot happier and am happily married to a wonderful woman. There's nothing that you can do that will ever make me want you, my monsieur, so I did what I could to make me want myself. Last time I saw one of my friends, he told me, catch you on the flip side. He hung himself a week later. I love you. My grandma always believed in showing love, not saying it. She believed actions spoke louder than words. 4 days before she passed away, she told me she loved me. I was shocked at this, but I told her I loved her too. It was so unlike her. I now realize that maybe she said it because, with how weak she was due to the sickness, she felt like she couldn't show it. I don't know. Maybe I'll never know. But that was when I knew that she didn't have much time left. Me. I don't feel brave. I feel scared. My husband. Being scared and doing it anyway is brave. I needed it. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. You have an energy I've always found challenging. By way of saying I don't want to talk to you anymore. Felt like out of the blue. Was meant to be kind. I think. Fucking ouch. Uncle committed suicide when I was a little kid. When I asked my mom how he died, she said he was depressed. I asked, depression can kill someone? She said, it can if you're sad enough. Here I am about 20 years later. I'm proud of you and your brother. From my dad. He grew up with a conservative, religious, military household. Old school mentality of dad works and only is involved in family when it's time to discipline. I was always shy and depressed and hated disappointing him, and it came to a point when I started driving and got my car stuck in snow that I didn't want to tell him about it. When my mom told him, she made it clear his kids were afraid of him and he realized he had become his dad, which he hated. The change has been extreme. From a strict, work yourself to death, hard butt to a family guy. Told me on my wedding day that he was proud of me and my brother because he never heard it from his dad. My father had been diagnosed with cancer a month after he retired, and as Frank Turner said, his weather forecast wasn't looking too good. I had 4 kids aged 12 and under and was trying to get a new business off the ground, and didn't have much time to see him. Monsieur, one Saturday, my sister and mother, who had been providing the bulk of the caregiving, asked me to come for a few hours so they could do some shopping and clear their heads a bit. I spent the afternoon and told him I was sorry I hadn't been to see them much. He told me, "Your wife and daughters are your family now, and they have to come first. Any time you have for me is appreciated, but never feel bad about making your family the priority." And #X200B. I've carried that with me over the past 14 years, and I always fall back on that when there are conflicts for my time and attention.